What can we learn from this? Don't make a movie in North Korea?
And don't cave in utterly, and so that you can't even make lemonade out of lemons out of this. I think there's a couple key lessons we can take from it. One is obviously enough, take cybersecurity seriously. In this situation, Sony has been repeatedly hacked going back at least to 2005, and yet the way, by all reports, this group got in wasn't with incredibly advanced techniques. It was kind of the cyber equivalent of a crude pipe bomb. The other part is don't just think that your exterior line of defense is enough. It doesn't work for eggs. It doesn't work for major corporations. And it's really, I think, shocking the way that once they got inside, it was as if they had the keys to the kingdom. They had access to everything from the gossipy emails that have made so much news to financial information to legal information. A lot of this stuff should have been kept separate and encrypted. And third, it points to the way that you personally operate, both as a just private citizen to a business executive. The way these people within the firm were emailing to each other, it was like they'd never been on email before. They were, bad-mouthing business partners, other people, and this is. Your mom teaches you not to do this, but also, everyone from Enron to Goldman Sachs has paid a legal and financial price for the kind of things they put what they thought was in private email. Guess what? Email's not going to be private in these days, and you have to act responsibly that way.
Mia, what have you learned already?
Yeah, so thematically, when I've been speaking to analysts yesterday, they said you should identify your crown jewels. So I see your finger. You've got some nice bling on your finger. You know where your crown jewels are. You probably have a safe at home with your jewelry as well. You know the most important things that are for you, and you know where to hide them. I know where my jewels are. Why does Sony not know where their scripts are, where their passwords are, their employee insurance plans? They should have those in safe places online and also in the physical world as well. And they should have those places constantly changing so that it's not in the same area every single time.
But, Peter, is this a case of the fact that we have gone online and become digital over the last few years and no one's prepared? If you think about who works in IT departments at any sort of company, and I'm going to guess a movie studio would be one, those people in IT don't get paid very much. They probably don't even get a lot of respect in the company.
Well, I want to echo the point that was made earlier, though. There's a lesson here that, again, applies whether it's in the physical world or in the cyber world. If you can't bear to lose something, prepare to lose it.
Right.
And that applies to whether it's your birth certificate or your electronic crown jewels. Now, to the point that you were making, the theme we should be thinking about here, whether it's the nation in our cybersecurity, your own cybersecurity, or Fortune 500 business private security, it's not just about defense, it's about resilience. And what I'm getting at here is that even if you have some of the best cybersecurity people working for you, if they're honest, they're going to tell you, I can't promise you 100% security. At some point, the bad guy is going to get in. They may already be on the inside. The U.S. military, for example, its biggest troubles have been insider attacks, Manning or Snowden. And so the key is not keeping yourself 100% secure, because it's never going to happen. It's how do I power through the attack? How do I get back up quickly when I'm knocked down? And then now we have a third lesson from Sony in the movie theaters, which is how do I not cave in, give the attackers everything that they want and more, incentivizing every other attacker in the world to come after me.
The problem also, Stephanie, is when you think about an IT manager, they're not incentivized to have a good ROI. They can't go out to a trade show and figure out, which security system they want to buy and then make the case to their CTO saying, hey, if I buy this top-of-the-end system, it's going to prevent $1 billion of trade secrets from exiting our system. They can't do that. They don't know how to spend that marginal security dollar because they can't make a good business case for it. And so ultimately, many of them have been saying, why don't we just wait till after the security breach happens and deal with it then, rather than investing all the money up front and having to protect it, which isn't always the right mindset to have.
But aren't companies like Sony now going to lose and or spend so much money after the fact when it was preventable before?
But more costly before, perhaps.
Ben Franklin.
Sorry, yeah. Peter?
Ben Franklin's saying about an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It applies in this space. And one of the things that matters here as well is how we measure the cost of a cyber attack, which then shapes what we're willing to spend to prevent it. And so far, businesses have typically, when they think about the potential cost of an attack, they think about how much time am I going to be knocked offline, and then the cleanup costs, whether it's technical or legal. But as we're seeing from whether it's the Target breach or this case with Sony, there's all sorts of other costs that kick in. It's everything from impact on your brand to your customers being upset with you, your business partners. And it's interesting, there was a survey taken of over 500 business executives, and when they asked them what's the cost of a cyber attack, only 39% of them weighed impact on brand, only 25% weighed impact on lost intellectual property. And that's just the wrong way to go about thinking about it.
Well, I just want to share, there's some breaking news. We've seen Reuters is reporting that the United States is officially making this statement. North Korea is responsible for the cyber attack. So seeing that they're making a statement like that, how do you think we should react? Suddenly, it's not just a bunch of hackers. We can't, I mean, this is official. Peter?
The challenge here is that in these incidents, everyone wants to focus on attribution, who did it to me, and the real problem is accountability. What am I going to do back to them so that they don't, either to punish them and or to prevent them from doing this in the future? And now when you talk about North Korea, it takes it from being a cyber incident to the problem in North Korea in general, which is, you know, they've done everything from nuclear test, nuclear proliferation to, you know, there have been incidents where they've killed, they've sank a close ally ship and killed 46 of their sailors just a couple years ago. So it's not like we had good relations with North Korea before. It's not like we weren't trying to sanction their economy before. And so, you know, this is not an act of war in terms of we're not going to go to war over this. And now we're looking for other tools. The problem is when you're talking about North Korea, we've been using most of the tools already. So it's not a cyber problem now. It's a North Korea problem in general.
Mia, do you believe from the analysts you've spoken to, this could change the way companies behave? Companies have to focus on the bottom line. They have shareholders to answer to. So when those IT professionals have been asking them to make the big spend, they simply can't. They're saying, I got other fish to fry. Something like this, especially now that it has become this serious, could we start to see a shift?
Yeah, one analyst, his name is Jonathan Bernstein, he's a crisis manager, he says he anticipates companies to spend more money not on IT systems, but on crisis management, because it's just easier and less expensive to put your dollars on it afterwards rather than beforehand. We just saw how awful that is for a company like Sony to have to deal with that, but they're willing to take the brand hit, they're willing to take that reputational hit, because from a cost point of view, it's just too expensive to take care and ensure that you have all the right cyber walls in place to prevent an attack that might happen, a 0.01% chance that it could happen.
But is it too expensive, Peter? Because, yes, maybe it's a 0.01 chance, but if it happens, it could take you down.
I would disagree with, you know, both parts of the premise. The first is the idea of it being a 0.01 or any kind of low level. The reality is of the top 500 companies in the world, 97% of them have admitted they've been hacked at some point, and the other 3% have been too. They just haven't admitted it. And that's true whether you're talking about large companies all the way down to, you know, small cupcakes. If you are online, you will deal with cyber threats. It's just simply a reality. And then the other part is, as we were talking about before, is the nature of the cost. It's just a lot more effective to focus on preventing and being resilient to the attacks than focusing on the cleanup afterwards. And that's true, again, whether you're talking about anything from cyber attacks to, you know, the same argument could be said about fire or theft in general. So, again, if people think their way out of this is to hire crisis management or good PR, they're setting themselves up for a world of hurt.